right, so this video I'm talking about political messages and comics, and graphic novels, movies, and books, and whatnot. And I made a generalization. I said that they all do that. I didn't mean to say that they all do that, but there's a disproportionate and influential amount of people that do this. So with that said, let's get into the video. All right, you guys. I'm not gonna waste too much time because I like to get to the point in all things that I do. But I'm gonna talk about how political messages and graphic novels, stories, and whether it be movies, comic books, books, what have you. I'm all for political messages and stories. I'm all for it so long as the story is good. A lot of times, especially recently, a lot of people are, really big into politics, getting more involved, and I'm all for that. And it's seeping into entertainment, good or bad, for better or worse. And a lot of people believe that, whether subconsciously or consciously, that the story itself can be a footnote to the political message they're trying to get across. And I think that's a terrible way to go about things, because I've been reading a lot of stuff recently that kind of that has that same type of that has that thought process. And I don't think the story itself should never suffer because of a message that the writer is trying to get across. I think that's just terrible writing. It's terrible writing. Really, if what a good writer does is, they have their political message in the story. Everyone does. Everyone's trying to, if it's worth any type, if the story's worth any type of salt, it has some type of truth to it. you know um and that's politics. That's politics to some extent. You're talking about politics of people. You know what I'm saying? I think that the good writers and the good comic book creators, writers, they know how to weave it, and the movie makers, they know how to weave it in a way that, okay, you see it, you're like, okay, they're trying to let me know that blah 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 blah, but it's not like so in your face. You know what I'm saying? It's not so in your face. It's done in a very skillful way. You know what I'm saying? I think in what we're dealing with right now is we have a lot of people that that have these terrible stories that aren't skilled, and they're not even trying to make a skillful attempt to weave their political, their political agendas in the story. They're not even trying to figure out a creative way to do it. They're just cramming it. They're just cramming it down your throat. They're just telling you, okay, this is what I'm about, this is how I feel, and this is what I'm really trying to get across. You know what I mean? And I don't think I don't think that you should do that. The story should never suffer because you're trying to get some type of political perspective across. There's a skillful way to do that. And like I said, I'm all for politics. I like and really, I will read and I will watch just about any type of story if it's skillfully written, skillfully executed, and I will listen to the political side of it. If it's a good story, if it's a great story, I don't think that the story should suffer. The story should never suffer. You know what I mean? Like, and that's going on right now, and it sucks. You know what I'm saying? It sucks for people that actually like to read, people that like graphic novels and things of that nature, because no one's even trying to make it a skillful weave in to the story. They're not skillfully weaving it in. It's just like, here it is everywhere. You know what I mean? You don't even have time to breathe because you're just like, okay, this is what they're about. This is what the whole story is about. It's just, you know what I mean? It's there's no substance. There's no substance, is basically what I'm saying, man. There's a lot of books out here. There's a lot of graphic novels out here with these agendas that aren't skillfully written. You know, like I said, I like reading about politics, to some extent, especially if it's especially if it's, skillfully written. If it's not just some blatant attempt to just get people to come to your political side of whatever you're talking about. You got to be skillful, man. You got to put in. Everyone's not going to be the greatest, but you can at least put a skill. You can at least apply some discipline. Build your skill up with the writing, and then also tackle and add that political agenda that you have, political thought process you have, and create something good. It doesn't always have to be. I don't know. I already feel like these people who do this, they already have that thought in mind, so they're not they're not thinking of like us as like consumers who love stories. You know what I mean? Because if you love stories, you want to hear about all types of aspects of life, different characters, how they feel. And part of the joy of reading different stories and having these stories to read is that you know that there's going to be so many different people from so many different walks of life created in the story, and to have in different adventures and whatnot and complexities, but to have like all that type of story aspect just footnoted just so people can shove a political message down your throat. It's disheartening, and people that read books and enjoy comics and enjoy movies, they're the ones that suffer, but maybe they don't because they put their money elsewhere.